Today I fucked up by trying to pleasure myself but instead ended up almost passing out. This account is a throwaway for obvious reasons. Yesterday I was alone and bored, so I thought I would crack out my trusty vibrator. I guess I was really horny because I wanted to try something else. I was going to use the vibrator in my number 2. I started carefully, but with confidence comes courage, so I gave it all I got. It felt like an electric shock and then came the pain. I knew I had passed my limits, so I pulled it out and kinda laughed it off. But wait, this is where the real fuck up start. You see, the day before, me and my BF decided to do a hot sauce challenge. A sauce made with 90% Trinidad scorpions. You can probably guess where this is going. A couple of hours after the vibrator incident, I went to the toilet to empty my stomach, you can say. I sat down and as soon as I pushed it out, the pain began. Oh, the horrifying pain. I don't think I can describe it with words. I wanted it to stop, but there was no way back. The stretching of my asshole combined with the hot sauce was too much. I cried and screamed like I was giving birth to a fully grown human being. I ran into the shower and tried washing with ice cold water, but no, nothing was relieving the pain. I just had to wait it out. So here I am, writing this, still in pain. Thankfully not as bad as yesterday, but I can still feel it. I have decided to not go to the toilet for a while. I'm drinking milk and eating ice cream like a starved out kitten in hopes of diluting what's left in my stomach. 010 would not recommend. TLDR, I stretched out my a-hole with the vibrator and forgot that I had eaten one of the world's hottest sauce the day before. I fell into a burning ring of fire. Johnny Cash would be proud. Dab some toilet paper, or better yet something like Kleenex, in milk, ice cream, yogurt or butter and give yourself a couple of blots back there. Cool milk, and the milk itself will help the pain. Then shower. Sauce, guy who once had Mexican and jalapeno dip and realized he had a hemorrhoid. I think you're putting the milk and ice cream in the wrong end. I didn't think about that. That's unfortunate. Don't forget you can have ibuprofen and paracetamol for the pain. 3. If you're from the US, paracetamol is Tylenol. It's called acetaminophen over here. Fun fact, I found this out in a UK hospital. Can I get some ice cream? Yeah, sure. What flavor? Doesn't matter, it's for my ass. Today I fucked up by getting my dick slammed in a drawer. It's a little past midnight, so I'm wearing my pajamas. I suddenly decided I wanted to have myself a nice snack, bread and Nutella. So I walked up to the kitchen and seeing how there were too many dishes that had to be cleaned, I decided not to use one and just make myself a lazy Nutella taco. I got the last piece of bread from the bag and went to get the Nutella. I opened the drawer with the knives and forks and all that stuff, and seeing how my hands were full, I decided to close the drawer by pushing it with my groin. The thing is, the tip of my dick was on top of it, still inside my pajama pants, don't worry. And just as I was closing it, I managed to turn my screams into whizzes. I was jumping around in pain and struggling to breathe. Worst part is, I kept my determination and continued to put Nutella on the piece of bread. That's when I started laughing, as I realized what just had happened and how my first reaction was, but I'll still have my fucking Nutella taco. Now I'm afraid to go pee. TLDR, while wearing my pajamas, I slammed my dick on a drawer and while squirming with pain, I made myself a snack with Nutella. Edit, my dick and I thank you for all the awards. That's how fetishes start. Sweetie, why do you always seem to be banging every drawer around the house? When I first started dating my now husband, he dropped a gigantic rock on his dick. We were moving these huge flat, decorative garden boulders, and he was showing off and really lifting way too much weight, but lifting them into the bed of his truck. He had one that was a bit too heavy, and on the release, it sort of dropped, and landed, pinning his dick between the rock and his truck. Needless to say, all work immediately ceased for the day. He was quite traumatized. Edit, thanks for asking everyone. Yes, he's okay. Nutella above all. Your tip can wait for later. Or seriously though, did you get a trip to the ER to check that everything was okay? Just took a leak, I'm fine. And the Nutella taco was delicious. Being a grower has its advantages. D. Rip PP and future kids. At least you ate your Nutella. Hey. It's a Nutella taco, man shrugging. Today I fucked up by trying to watch a DVD on my dad's computer. This post isn't from recently, it was probably 15 to 16 years ago. My old man unfortunately passed earlier this year, so my family have been reminiscing stories about him, and one came to mind that I don't think I can share with my sisters, stepmom or mother, so I thought I'd share it with you. For a prerequisite, my dad was always a good laugh, always joking and never overly serious. But he always got very awkward whenever the topic of sex, sexuality or relationships came up, and would usually make awkward jokes to change the conversation. The most descriptive I ever saw him being was him calling Natalie Imbruglia a babe, and once telling my stepmom her bum was lovely when he was drunk on their anniversary. It was during a school holidays when my little sisters were only young. My stepmom was working and my dad, who worked from home, went out to see some clients, so I was babysitting. They were parked in front of the TV watching movies and eating snacks, so I went off to my dad's office to watch one of my Jackass or Dirty Sanchez DVDs away from the kids, but I inserted the DVD but couldn't find the Windows media player that my PC had to play the DVD. My dad was a bit over paranoid about programs secretly installing viruses, so he uninstalled basically everything that wasn't entirely essential to his work. Well, most of them. So I started digging around his computer looking for a program and found a media player buried in a folder marked movies. The media player was called something like DVD Max or something, so I clicked on it, assumed it was a straight-up DVD player and hit play and walked off to get a snack. As I'm walking off, I just hear the loudest howling, screaming orgasms, so I run back to his office, and on the full screen is just two women with what I can only describe as having the biggest pair of tits I've ever seen in my life, ramming each other with dildos and screaming at the top of their lungs. I managed to scramble around and close the program down before my little sisters come up to see what the noise was. And the eldest of the two says, "Daddy says we aren't allowed to use his computer." I'm telling him, "You did though." When he gets back, she tells him what I did and he asks what I was up to. So I just say, "Oh, just tried to watch a DVD but couldn't get it to work, no media players." So he just nodded and went, "Yeah, I didn't need them so I removed them. It's just a work computer," and walked off. I never told a soul until today. Miss your dad. Too long didn't read. Tried to watch a Jackass DVD on my dad's computer and managed to pick up where my dad left off on his giant titty lesbo porn movie. I didn't even accidentally figure out my mom and stepdad watched porn. I'm of an age there were video rental stores every few blocks, and when we would go on Friday nights they always went to the back room with a curtain. They probably thought I had no idea what was in that room and didn't give it a second thought to go in there. Then after we watched the family movie, they'd carry our big ass old tube TV and VCR to their room for the night. Nothing suspicious here, kids. For the record, your dad was correct. Natalie Imbruglia is a babe. In France she'd be called La Renard. She would be hunted with only her cunning to protect her. And this is the day that you found out your dad's work was actually big-titted porn star interviews and reviews. Nice. Your dad did interesting work. He was a professional lesbian porn titty inspector. I salute you, sir. My dad was similar. As straight-laced as they come for decades. Then one day randomly in front of a bunch of my friends and their parents, I was probably 17 at the time, one of the dads asks mine if he needed some company. He was headed out back to check on the grill. Dad replied, "Haven't been asked that since New Orleans 1970, and I'll tell you the same thing I told her." Okay. I think my dad banged a hooker. Bananas.